for. Or maybe as the partner would want to present it, they got what they deserved. Right, they got what they deserved. Why did they get what they deserved? Because they were greedy, avaricious, right? Now, what happens next is the more interesting part of our story, okay? And your textbook will focus on that story as having some kind of archetypal elements. But I gotta be honest, for you as seniors, that's pretty sophomoric or pretty lower level. I mean, like I said, it's pretty easy to teach fifth graders this story and they go, oh, I shouldn't be so greedy and want stuff I shouldn't have, right? That's simple. What we're more interested in is our partner, this preacher, who is now worn off his drunken buzz, and he's ready to bring his sermon to a conclusion. The very partner who said, it's all lies when I'm preaching, and I'm only out for this, but still now, all of a sudden, it's as if he's totally forgotten that he betrayed all of that, told all of that, because he was maybe a little drunk and he's forgotten. And now he's ready to bring his sermon down to its final conclusion. Oh, cursed sin. Now, any of us that ever sat in church and listened to somebody preach, probably once in our life, a 3B observation, probably once in our life heard a preacher who's going to bring the sermon down to its conclusion. And obviously he's got to bring out his points. And he's going to do it with some powerful emotion. Watch how our partner starts really preaching. Oh, cursed sin. Oh, blackguardly excess. Oh, treacherous homicide. Oh, wickedness. Oh, gluttony that lusted on and diced. Oh, blasphemy that took the name of Christ. With habit-hardened oaths that pride began. Alas, how comes it that a mortal man, that thou to thy Creator, him that wrought thee, top of page 134, that paid his precious blood for thee and bought thee, art so unnatural and false within? In other words, he's gone from the story to now preaching to the yokels who are sitting out there. And what does he say to them? You're so much like the guys in this story. Don't even try and pretend like you're not. Full of sin, full of blah, blah, blah. Greed especially. Full of greed. How dare you? Right? You can imagine the yokels are like, oh, I don't want to be like the guys in the story. I don't want to be like that at all. Notice now I'm on page 134. Line 328. It's almost as if the partner does this. That, dearly beloved, now he'll finish. God forgive your sin and keep you from the vice of avarice. My holy pardon frees you all of this, provided that you make the right approaches, that is, with sterling rings or silver brooches. Bow down your heads under this holy bowl. Come on, you women, open up your wool. I'll write your name into my ledger. So into the bliss of heaven you shall go, for I'll absolve you by my holy power, that you that make offering clean as at the hour when you were born. In other words, this is the call. Hey, come on down. I'm going to forgive you as long as you've got a little bit of money to help me out. And then it's as if, do you see the ... the ellipsis there? That's because he goes on for quite some time to finish this up. And then you have it. That, sirs. In other words, it's like, yep, that's how I preach. And Jesus Christ, soul's healer, I, the leech of every soul, grant pardon and relieve you of sin, for that is best. I won't deceive you. A couple of observations. Let's finish our annotations here. Notice how he finishes. He finishes by saying, hey, you guys out there in the church, you guys that I'm preaching to, you guys are just like these guys in the story. You're full of sin and you need to be forgiven, pardoned. I will pardon you because I have some special relics that have been blessed by the Pope. All you have to do is come up and pay me some money. Of course, the only problem is that earlier in his prologue, he already told us what about the relics? They're all fake. He told us what about his ability to pardon? I could care less what happens to their souls. They can go to hell and go blackberry picking for all I care. Remember is what he said? I'm interested in their currency. Number two, your textbook company pulls a fast one on you. Right? They pull a fast one on you. They do not tell you there's more to the story. What? Yeah, there's more to the story. No, there's not. There's questions on page 134. No, you're not hearing me. There's more to the story. The partner, as the story continues. Now, why the anthology makers would leave this out, you get to decide on your own, okay? But the partner then will turn and he will say, you guys are really, really lucky I'm along. And here's why. We're on ponies. Somebody could fall off the pony, break his neck, dead, go to hell without my pardon. You guys are lucky. So I think it's time that somebody right here come forward and let's have some pardoning start to happen right now. And since I know all of you are full of sin, but the guy that's the most full of sin is that host back there, because he's the one that runs the bar and runs the little prostitute house right next door. He needs to come up here. Host, come on up here. Now, I'm ready to forgive you. You bring up some of that money that you got because you obviously own the bar. Come on up. To which the host, Chaucer tells us, responds, what? Are you kidding me? The next thing I know, you're going to pull down your pants and have me kissing your underwear because you're going to say, that's been blessed by the Pope. No, I ain't coming up there. And the partner then will respond by saying, what? How dare you? You can't talk to a man of the cloth that way. You need to get up here now. To which the host is now ready to punch him in the throat. And we're told they're ready to come to a fight, fisticuffs over this, when it's the knight. He stands up and says, hey, fellas, we're trying to have a little fun here. Come on. And Chaucer says that then the partner and the host shake hands and say, okay. And then Chaucer says, we got on our ponies and we went on our way. Now let's point out why that part of the story is significant to the reading of the prologue in relationship to Chaucer's agenda. Let's go back to it one more time. Chaucer clearly has an agenda. He wants to make a point to especially the yokels. That is to say, these religious types, they cannot always be believed. They cannot always be trusted. This partner is proof of it. And because they cannot be trusted, take a look at how this partner comes out of his drunken stupor, and now he is ready to try to preach to the very group that I was a part of. In other words, he thought somehow he could fool us, but now here's the key. The host already knows. Let's write this down. This is huge. Huge moment in the history of literature as well. The host already knows. Why does he know? Because the partner already sold his secret. The partner already said, this is all a scam. Remember what he called it in the prologue? A game, a scam. It ain't real. Once the host knows, he cannot take the partner seriously. That is to say, he's suspicious of the partner. Yeah, big deal. I don't understand what you're saying. Well, wait. What about all the people that read this story? What about all the people that hear this read out loud to them because they're illiterate, but they can hear somebody read it? And then the next time they go to Mass, some priest steps up and says, I'm ready to pardon your sins, but I need a little money first. Is it altogether possible that one or two of the people sitting out there go, yeah, I've heard this story before. Yeah, nice one. In other words, they're just like the host. They call into question the authenticity of the priest, and by extension, the church. Now, that is a pivotal moment in the history of thought. Chaucer is already planting the seeds of some serious doubt in the integrity or the authenticity of the church. And again, we are fully 100 years before Luther and the movement that we call the protest of the Protestant movement, the Reformation of the Catholic Church. Chaucer, for your notes, is way ahead of his time. That's the point we're making. Chaucer, way ahead of his time. But as we articulated at the end of the partner's prologue discussion, this obviously begs the question of whether Chaucer is doing something right or wrong in potentially raising questions about the authenticity of the church, and in the process possibly destroying the faith of a large number of people. The beginnings of religious skepticism can be often traced back to this partner's prologue and tale. Not the story. The story is obviously just a moral tale. Don't be greedy. But what comes before and what comes after shows a very inauthentic religious man of the cloth who is actually out to simply scheme those yokels. Well, of course, we can finish now with our annotations very quickly at level 3. We've already mentioned at 3A several observations of other texts that come to mind. What is for you the film that best proves this mantra? Greed will kill. Greed will kill. That is to say, you want something so badly that it destroys you. Of course, you can immediately think about those Lord of the Rings films come to mind immediately, right? And the whole notion of who Smeagol was, right, before he became that disgusting Gollum. Why is he so corrupted? Greed, right? So that you think about for you, what is your favorite text where this notion of greed is a bad deal and it jacks with you comes. And then, of course, at 3B, a simple question. What is for you the one time in your life that you would have to admit you probably did struggle a little bit with greed? You probably did struggle a little bit with wanting something that you probably shouldn't have wanted. It might have been when you, for example, did something that was unethical because you wanted something, and instead of getting it the right way, you kind of cut corners. Maybe you cheated on a test, maybe you stole or picked up something in a store and you walked out with it, that kind of thing. And Chaucer will ask a very interesting question in his story. Is it true that when you do something unethical in the form of cheating, because you're greedy, is it true that it kind of fundamentally changes you in some way? It makes you less human in some ways, right? Finally, we can jump back up to 2B. Those archetypal elements that we were talking about, they're all there, aren't they? You've got the threes, you've got the old man, you've got, of course, the prediction of finding death, you've got the famous tree, you've got the gold sitting in the middle, and of course you have retributive justice. That is to say, do good, get good, do bad, get bad. And in the end, of course, our three idiots kind of get what they deserve as three young fools, right? Well, there you go, an introduction to Chaucer's Partner's Tale. Thank you.